Earnings season is still, yes, not over the hump, but there are themes developing. What is driving the trading action so far this season?
So one is that we've seen a slightly higher on the misses side, just in this past week. And we actually noticed that Q2 earnings expectations really tanked. We started off the week looking like they were basically going to be flat, sort of zero, and they've gone back down to -1%. So we're back well in that contraction territory. And that's from some consumer discretionaries like the likes of Amazon, those bigger names missing that has really pushed it down. So that's, at least looking backwards, it's not looking quite as rosy as we initially thought. Fortunately, when you look at earnings estimates for the next 2 quarters, the second half of this year and 2020, they're mostly stable and somewhat rising. So it does look a little better, but it's for second quarter, it's not as hopeful as we thought about a week ago.
Erin, you've been doing this for a good while. You are a veteran of a lot of earnings seasons. It seems as though this is the playbook. Analysts always ratchet down their expectations going into this earnings season, and then somehow magically these companies, no matter what they do, tend to outperform those expectations.
So
and that's playing out this time too, though.
Well, what's different is we started off that way. We started with like -2% growth at the beginning of the quarter, and then we got up to 0 within 3 weeks. And then this week, we went back down, or we retraced 1%. So that's unusual in that you're having this trend of going up and then back down. Usually it just tends to be revised down right before the quarter and then up, 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 up. And so it's unusual to see this choppiness in the expectations.
What has been probably the most indicative or important earnings report from a company so far for you in terms of like an indication of what's been going on?
So any of the big mega caps, obviously they're big movers in the market just by their weight. So Amazon was obviously important, Facebook. To me, I was looking at Intel. I'm always very focused on the semis in general. They're very much global, truly global players, and are often forward indicators of global growth, because they just sell to all countries. And so for me, seeing the improvement outlook from some of the semis, because it was so negative for most of this year, and finally seeing some positive news come out of the semi industry, for me is at least hopeful on the global growth side that we're a little safer.
I mean, they've become a proxy for U.S.-China trade talks and trade relations, and that plays into the story. I mean, the semiconductor ETF is already back to all-time highs, just off those again.
Yes.
So you spoke about looking forward. Are there earnings reports coming up in the next week or two that you think you're going to be hyper-focused on because it could provide more of that thesis on global growth or the health of the global economy? Yeah,
so finishing up some of the big industrials coming through next week. And I would say Facebook being another one that's going to be a big one. And though Google had a good report, I'm still concerned about, with the regulatory overhang that they have, any of those companies, how well the stock's really going to do.
Oil and gas, I bring it up only because of the Middle East tensions and everything else, and we know that Exxon and Chevron have numbers coming out next week as well.
Yep.
How important is the energy sector to the overall bull market thesis that has been playing out up until now?
So I actually am not so worried about their earnings reports. It's really, you can see day to day on any trade tensions we have with Iran, then it moves the oil price and then the stocks just follow. So it's almost like it doesn't matter what they report. And that's been sort of moving the market just at the tail end from day to day. Sometimes we say it's trade negotiations, but you really drill down, it's like, oh, it's the energy sector that was moving it around all day long. So I'm more concerned about just overall sentiment on our international relations.